screening a cancel possible rewrite policy. It's mandatory to follow the screening procedures simply because screening technically means investigating and understanding the situation. Now, when we talk about a cancel policy, you need to determine why the policy got canceled, how late was the policy or the payment, so that at least we could educate the customer and we could help them resolve their situation. Now, number one, emphasize that we will find all the solutions, we will find the best solution, so not to worry. Even though the policy is canceled, even though we're going to have to help them reinstate possibly with a new policy, tell them, don't worry, we're going to take care of you. We're going to run the information, we're going to find the best option, the best solution. Don't worry, we're going to take care of the situation. Number two, confirm the status of the policy. Of course, we already know it's canceled, but log into the website, determine when was a policy canceled, what was the reason for the cancellation. Was it canceled based on a non-payment? Was it canceled based on a reinstatement that wasn't processed, or possibly even an underwriting reason? Now, if the policy was canceled for non-payment, then we're going to have to look into the situation to determine when was a policy canceled, what date was a policy canceled, when was the last payment that was processed, what month was that payment for? Simply because they made a payment last month, it doesn't necessarily mean that it was for last month. It could have been for the previous month. So you need to determine all of that information. How much was a payment? When was the last payment processed? What was that payment for? For what month was it processed for? And when was the cancellation effective? Now, if the policy was canceled due to underwriting reasons, then we're going to have to investigate a lot more. We're going to have to look into the situation a lot more to understand why was the policy canceled. Now, cancel for underwriting reasons technically means that the insurance company canceled the policy. And most likely, there was notifications on the reason why the policy was canceled prior to the cancellation. Maybe they were requesting information that was never submitted, or maybe there was a vehicle or a driver or a situation that was not acceptable, and therefore the policy was canceled. But let's look at a couple different scenarios. Maybe an excluded driver. Companies that run a report and actually determine that there's a driver that lives under the same address that's not included or excluded on the policy is going to submit a notification to the customer letting them know that they need to exclude the driver. If they fail to exclude the driver, the policy will be canceled for underwriting reasons. So maybe it was an excluded driver. The following one may be proof of not at fault. Maybe the policy was canceled due to the fact that there was an accident. The insurance company was requesting proof of not at fault, and they never submitted the proof. The following may be missing documents, such as a driver's license or a copy of a matricula or just an ID. Maybe they were requesting a specific document or registration that was never submitted, and therefore the policy was canceled. So once again, it was canceled due to underwriting reasons, but the company gave the customer an opportunity to submit the paperwork or the information at least 30 days prior to the cancellation. So it wasn't just from one day to another that the policy was canceled. The following, maybe it was an unacceptable vehicle or an unacceptable driver. Now, within this situation, you need to log into the website, log into the notes, read the notes on the website and also on the HawkSoft to try to determine the reason, because you're going to have to educate the customer. Now remember, we're not setting up the presentation, we're just understanding the situation. Screening the situation is completely different than setting up the presentation. Screening means investigating, understanding the situation so we can know how to approach the solutions. So, number 3, it's mandatory to match the information that's on the website to the FSC. Now keep in mind, all the information has to match. from the phone number, the zip code, and the address, the drivers, excluded drivers, and rated drivers, everything has to match. And if the policy was canceled due to a unexcluded driver, you need to make sure you exclude them, because if not, the customer is going to have the same situation. The coverages, the vehicles, everything has to match. So you're going to match the information that's on the website. You're going to match it to the FSC so we can start quoting the right information. Now keep in mind, if you don't match the information, we may be quoting a completely different situation, and then we're going to be in trouble because we're going to insure the wrong vehicle, the wrong coverage, the wrong driver. So it's mandatory, match the information. Within this step, you're also going to start requesting all the paperwork, all the information again, because it's going to be a potential rewrite. Matter of fact, it's going to be a rewrite because a policy is canceled. So you're going to request copies of the driver's license, IDs, and registrations. You're going to give them an address form. They're going to complete a new address form. If they don't have the information of all the vehicles or the drivers, you can log into the HawkSoft, go to attachment, select the application attachment, and open up the old application and reprint any paperwork such as IDs, registrations that we could also use to start the new policy. Now they're going to have to write a statement that they understand and agree to provide us with the new or updated copy, similar to a PTP. Number 4, now you're going to requote the situation. So you're going to requote the situation on the FSC. You're going to determine what company offers the lowest and the best option. You're going to bridge over to the companies to determine who's going to offer them the lowest option. You're also going to have to determine what was the payment, their old payment, because now you're going to offer the new information and you're going to have to compare both. You're going to educate the customer before we even set up the presentation. You're going to educate the customer by letting them know why the policy was canceled, when was the last time they made the payment, what was that payment for, review how many months they're behind, educate them on the concept of policies canceling, the grace period, or the dates that they have to make a late payment before the actual policy cancels. Educate them on all the fees, such as late fees, cancellation fees, reinstatement fees, reactivation fees, so they can have an idea that their payment is not only late, but they're going to be responsible for additional fees. As soon as you determine what options are available and the companies that are going to offer the best deal, now you're ready to set up your presentation. Now you're going to set up your presentation by setting up a system where you're going to put all the topics, all the information, all the tools that you're going to use to justify the rewrite. There's an additional video that's going to help you understand how to set up the presentation for a cancel rewrite option. But for now, the purpose of screening the situation is simply to investigate everything that has to do with the cancel policy, to determine what situation they had, so we could actually have a good idea on how to set up our presentation. And also to make sure that everything matches, so the new quote that we're going to offer has all the information, all the vehicles, all the drivers that they had on their previous policy.